It's open. It's open. We didn't have what I couldn't see it.
That's because you're way around the side.
Hacienda Heights. Just south of Amani. Yeah. You play Cavina?
I know.
Kind of have to do a little bit different that's in that deal. Kind of go through the logical progression we've been talking about, stuff versus running. And kind of start with most important, with the up front guy, and then the little guys in the back end just run around. You know, we've had sometimes. We talked about the guys up front. Again, we're a 3-4 team. Our defense has been structured that way. If you're not familiar with it, we play very little Okie type look. We play a little bit, and I'll kind of get into that. We play more reduction defense, generally to the split side, almost always to the split side. Over the last 2 years, our reduction defenses have averaged about 2.2 yards per snap. And that's with all coverages on average, which is very good. And that's been kind of the identifying factor of our defense in areas. Norfolk, right?
No. We'll talk later.
Your relation. Yeah, you got it. Anyway, that's where we started and been a reduction side defense, which whether you play a 4-3 or 3-4 and you reduce and play under defense, that's the same thing we've been doing in our defense. What I want to do is kind of talk and go through responsibilities and let you ask questions about what they are, and so make sure if you have any questions you can speak up. The first thing is the nose guard. Our nose basically has 3 techniques. The first one being the zero technique, which means he's head up on the center, and he's going to play the front side of the center's block. Once that center defines the side that he's going to, that's the gap that's the nose guard's responsibility. And that's our definition of 2 gap. Is whatever way that center steps, now that gap is defined, the nose guard's gap. Okay? It'll be the same thing when we get to the defensive end, the 5 technique. Same thing when we get to the outside backer and 6. It's all defined that way. And so if we look at I thought if I bought a purple pen, it wouldn't be in here, and I got 2 purple pens up here. If we look at the way this is diagrammed, you got you have the 0, okay? You've got a 1 inside, you've got the 2 head ups, 3 outside, 4 inside, 5 head up, 7 inside the tight end, 6 head up, which is the only one that's not in logical order, and a 9 outside. That's been the numbering scheme we've used, and then your gaps below. So with the 0 then, there's going to be a head up technique in here, be a head up technique, and we're going to play the front side of the center's block. So the center steps here, we're going to beat him to that side. Center steps there, we're going to beat him to that side. To go to the next step, any questions on that with the 0? Yeah. Depth is, and that's what I was trying to do. The depth is by ability. I think in the 0, if the guy can't overpower the center, if he's having trouble at all, he wants to get him, he wants to back himself off the football. And that'll stay consistent with anybody that's playing our 2-gap football. Okay? He doesn't want to get too snug to the football, so he wants to give himself to extend, to react and extend and get to the front side of the center. And if you get too snug to the ball, then you end up behind the center all the time, and they're going to cut your defense. Okay? They're going to cut your defense. Then you might as well put him in a backside technique, which we didn't use much of. We use it occasionally when we're going to rush 5, and it's a single back set, and the remaining back was covered by one of the inside backers. And we give the nose a backside technique because of the fact that the front side backer will go ahead and scrape the ball, and we call that technique tough. 0 as a base. All right. Does that answer, Sam? All right. Next thing would be gap. And in gap, all right, as we got in our stance in the tilt, if this was the center here and line of scrimmage right here, just say that's square. And I'm going to be in here, and I'm going to be in this stance here. And on gap, I'm going to step with my gap side foot into the gap. I'm going to step with my gap side foot into the gap. Okay? And he's going to penetrate into that gap. Keep his pads down and penetrate. Now, our reason for playing a lot of tilt defense is to try and take 2 blocks. One, ensure the offense right away. We're going to take 2 blocks. We're going to define the gap for everybody else on defense. Okay? So we're in the gap. The next technique is plus. Now he's going to step with his inside foot, and he's going to step into the junction of the center. Okay? And that's plus. So we have 0, gap, and plus for the nose guard, and then possibly a tough out of the 0. So those are your techniques there. Now, with the gap technique, it's a more penetrating technique, and obviously the negative of it is what? Anybody? Scoop. There you go. Boom, boom. They're rubbing, knock him off. That guy, he just rubs long enough for that guy to get on you, and they try and get you cut. Try and get your defense cut. Okay? So if you're playing a big side, open side run team, where they're mixing it up, open side and closed side, then you want to be a little bit more conscious of playing plus. Because in plus, he's playing into the center, and they complement each other. Now, if you only can play one of the 2 techniques and you don't want to burden your guy with 2 techniques, I would say you'd want to play plus. Okay? You'd want to play plus because it'll give you more of what you want. Because he's still stepping into the front side of the center. He's still controlling the center, which means the guard still has to block him for them to run the ball to the tight end side. Okay? They've got to still use 2 in order to block him. So I would use plus if you're only going to have one of the 2 techniques. Because I'm stepping into the center. Any split type running play, which is the big play these days, is what we call plunge play, where he reverses it out and hands the ball. Everybody on offense teaches that back getting the ball to read who? We teach you to read the first guy on the closed side of the center, right? Which would be the nose guard, because he's tilted that way. And if the nose guard shows up this side, where's the ball go? Cuts back, right? You teach that guy to cut back behind it, and they're trying to rub these guys off the ball over here, boom, and climb up to the backer. And this guy, they're cutting off your backer or your end with this blocker here. So, and that's the play everybody runs, a split flow play. They can run out of I, they can run it from single back step, but it's basically block the same. Okay? But we'll show you here in a second. Let's go through the linemen where we're going to get the help by those backers. Okay? So we'll hold that thought. Let's go with the ends real quick, and then we'll get into the backers. All right, now your defensive end. You've got a 5 technique, which is head up the offensive tackle. For him, it plays just like the 0 technique does for the nose guard. It's a 2-gap technique, but once the center steps in direction, the gap is defined. Okay? The gap is defined, or the tackle. Tackle steps to the right, now your end's in the right side, inside gap. Tackle steps to the left, he's in the left side gap leverage. Off the football, inside hand down, he comes off the football, he wants to get control of beating that guy to the spot. He doesn't want to have to get in there, wrestle with the guy, and then have to cross back. He's coming off and he's holding leverage in that gap. Somebody else has the gap, inside or outside again. All right? And that's the definition of our 5 technique. The next one is a 4 technique, where he's going to be an inside responsibility. Okay? So again, he can basically, we tried to keep the alignment the same, where it was head up, but he had the inside gap. All right, so he'd be inside gap with the tackle. All right, and then the last one was a 3 technique, where he's on the outside shade of the guard. Okay? He was on the outside shade of the guard. And that his responsibility is, in 3, is I want to come off the football, take something off the guard. If he's trying to climb up on the inside backer, that weak backer in there, I'm going to take a little bit off of him. I'm not going to save his life, but I'm going to take something off of him. I don't want him running around the corner there. I want him to take something off that guard as he's coming off the football. All right? And that way, if they're slipping the other way and zoning the other way and trying to double and rub on him and climb to the backer and going to the open side and running any type of bobsled or anything like that, he gives you, he's coming off the football the same way all the time, that the tackle has to stay on him or he'll make the tackle. Okay? And again, what I'm talking about with those guys, when we're in the 5, he steps here, I'm stepping here. He steps here, I'm stepping here. When I'm in a 4, I'm coming off inside gap. Inside gap. If I get outside reach, I'm just walking it inside out. Not trying to cross back across the space. Don't ask the guy to do 2 things at once. He can only do one thing. And that's why once it defines out here in the 5, it's
Slide it down, coach.
once he defines it here, we're in that responsibility and stay there. When he defines the cutoff here, we're in that responsibility and stay there. And with the 3 technique, again, he's coming off the football, and I'm coming off there outside half, and I'm defending the big gap. Okay? If he tries to work inside of you, we're coming off again. Hopefully, we're slowing his progress just a touch, and now we're getting pinned down the line of scrimmage. But we can't save this guy. This guy's got to get to where he needs to get to defend this gap. Okay? Based on the backfield set, we'll get into those. Okay? So if you go through again, the same thing with the defensive end. If he's struggling in the 5 technique, back him off the ball. So he gets used to coming off and reading that guy's flow and beating to the spot. Beating to the cutoff point. What him to do. Yes.
On your 4th technique, coach, when he's charging from a 5 to a 4, is he key in the guard?
What we had him do,
In case that guard pulls outside, right?
more, if you block down, you want him to be able to keep finishing inside. Okay? Make sure that he collapses the block. Yeah. Because what will happen when the nose is here and he blocks down and now they're running the lead play here, this backer's responsibility, which I'll hit all these things here in a second, but he is going to be stepping, he's going to be in a straight responsibility because he's got a 4 and a 0. So his gap is basically C gap. So once this guy blocks down, then we want the end to go ahead and collapse. And so he'll be the guy that will literally be spilling the lead block.
So you ask them to really see what that guard's
We
doing.
want to come off and feel the guard. Okay? We want to come off and we feel or keep vision and see the guard, then we can come off inside. All right? If we feel the guard pulling outside, we don't want him to pop right across the hole right now because the backer's across there. Okay? We want to keep the gap integrity we have. Once the football crosses outside, then he can go ahead and cross outside. Okay? But what should happen on that type of play, if they pull this guard and he's blocking on our end, we should pick up the nose guard almost like a stunt. If they pull the guard outside, we should pick up the nose guard going free because the center shouldn't be able to get him. Okay? Does that make any sense? And put it down here. This question was, if the guard pulled outside, we're off here, we're inside, now we ought to pick up the nose, kind of working behind that guy. So if we're coming off the football, we don't want to get collapsed inside. So if anything, we'd rather have him be inside and pick up the nose guard flowing behind him.
Was it realistic? Did he ever get a chance to maybe make that guard bounce deep?
That's not realistic on that guy. Yeah, on that tackle, that's probably not a realistic thing. Okay? So we got 0, gap, plus for the nose guard, 5, 4, 3 for the end. Okay, to bridge the gap now, The outside backwards technique now is fixed right with the other player. And how you got to understand this is if the defensive end is in a 5 technique or a 4 technique, then our outside backer is in a 6, which is head up the tight end, or a 9, which is a backer force alignment outside the tight end. Okay? If the defensive end is in a 3 technique, then the outside backer's alignment is a 7 technique, which would be either on air or inside eye underneath the tight end if it's a second tight end, or tight end to him, and you had a 3 technique inside. And that all worked together. So if we taught the defense, we'd say, your defensive end is in a 3, and I know as an outside linebacker I'm in a 7. All right? I know as an outside linebacker I'm in a 7. Your defensive end's in a 5, and all we got to do is time the coverage, and he knows he's in a 6 or a 9 based on the coverage. If the defensive end's in a 4 or 5. And that all fits together with what we're doing. We kind of already talked about it, but let's again review the outside backer. If I'm a 6, I'm head up. I want to be a parallel stance. Okay? If I'm 7, we're going to be a slight inside shade and still with a parallel stance and be on the inside eye if there's a tight end to me. Okay? And I've got the C gap. So if the guy comes off and reaches me, I'm going to be walking him inside out. I'm not going to cross across his face because my gap is C gap. Somebody else is in the 4th position outside me, whether it be a safety, all right? Most of the time it would be, or a corner on the weak side of the weak side half, okay? So somebody else is in the 4th position, all right? And then if we're in a 9, all right, then I'm going to be my inside foot on the outside foot of the tight end, okay? My inside foot on the outside foot of the tight end. And that was the alignment we gave. Okay? Doesn't have to worry about down block, inside, when he's in 9 technique, back and forth, or a term we used also in our man-to-man bronco force. Okay, now, with their stance for the outside backer, because the quarterback or the offensive guys are taught to look at that guy's stance, want him to vary his stance. So we may be head up in the 6 technique and then walk out and get his backward force. In the backward force stance, he might show as a rush position stance, where he was rushing and he'd have his outside foot back, because that's the best way a guy can get his outside foot back and rush. That's the best, most comfortable stance for him to rush from. But we might be playing backward force. But we started out showing cloud, and then we moved out here and we got to this stance like we were rushing, and then we're playing backward force. We started out here in backward force with our inside foot back, as we talked about earlier, and then we walked down to head up and we played cloud or sky force. Okay? And so we wanted to switch and vary their alignments. So if the quarterback or the tight end or whoever is looking at them on offense doesn't know their responsibility based on the initial stance they line up in. Because we are going to be somewhat predictable with our stances, and stance is very important for that guy to execute his job and his technique. We want them to show different things prior to the snap, or even when they're outside, they can do it within. Yes, go ahead.
Will you play the 5, the 5, and the 5 in the split inside, or you always reduce the split inside?
We played some 5 ends.
Will you widen him when he's on the split inside, or you still keep him head up?
We'll keep him head up. We'll play some what we call wide 5 occasionally, but most of the time if you head up, because we play with open side, we want him to, or close side, we want him to cross the face. All right, we wanted to have the same. And in a wide 5, he didn't have responsibility to cross the face. He had to see that. Okay. So does that all kind of float? Yes.
I don't know if you're going to get into this, but how about seeing on the boots and stuff with the 5 technique? He's trying to get across the face.
Yeah. No. That's where you're going to be real weak. You're not going to be quite as good in contain on the bootleg. Now I'll show you how we cover it here. Got enough overlays over here, and I keep wanting to get some back over there. Let's put them in the universal bootleg formation. I I got them big enough. I've got so big they can't get into the split wide. These are big guys here. All right? Playing the Cowboys, and see, they got all these big guys. All right, we're playing a 5 technique, and they're going to boot, and they're going to slip us inside, right? They're going to zone away. Now he's going to go to the flat. He's got contained by rule, but he's inside. What we have done on those type plays, we have given the outside backer the responsibility, particularly if we're in cloud or sky force. Even if he's a dropper, we've let him go and take the play. Because say we're in cover 2 over here, we give the corner the responsibility with flat. This backer here, we're going to get action away and then boot. He's going to take the first crossing receiver. The corner can help him deep the shallow, but he's going to take the flat, and the safety's going to overlap the play number 1. So you really only need 4 droppers when you're playing the bootleg scheme. All right, because you're wasting a guy. There's a guy that's not going to cover anyway, and you're going to lose this dropper anyway. So you got to pick up this guy on the deep crosser. You got somebody in the flat on the shallow level. You got this, and then you got the other safety in the corner working on those 2 guys. So basically, against bootleg schemes, you have to go to home correct. Right, you know, I was right there, no way to see a thing, huh? Ernie, you're in charge of that. You have one job to do, and you can't do it right the first time. How are you going to have time to do it again? All right, so we basically, versus the bootleggers, we played the play. And we taught our guys that concept again. Again, it's not always the best, but you know, we always know how we're going to play the play. And whoever has the flat is going to be responsible to play the first shallow receiver. And then the outside player, the backside hook defender, is going to wheel and takes the crosser, and then we're going to cover the rest with the secondary as they play their 2-deep or 3-deep scheme, no matter what we're in. Okay? The toughest thing is if we're in a man coverage or something there or something we don't have a guy in the flat, then we just got to down to that end. The other thing we did, we were getting a lot of that. We saw on X games, we didn't do much off the close side, so we stepped in and got it around. So we covered it for contain, particularly off the split side. We're getting a lot of that out of the split side, and we just ran the X game and brought the end back behind the outside backs, and that was good versus. But you do have to have an answer for it. And the other answer for it is just put your end, if you're getting a lot of that, just put your end in the wide side, just exchange gap with the back, which is what we're going to do right now, and look at the inside back. Our guys all play left and right. The only, we played, the only people on our defense that have flopped have been our inside linebacker. We've had a tight inside linebacker, and we've had an open side inside linebacker. And everybody else on our defensive team has basically played left and right. At times when we had Rod Wilson playing, we would flop Rod based on the receiver. If we wanted to get him matched on a certain receiver. But other than that, everybody played left and right. The safety's also good. Safety's play strong. But for the most part, if you can play left and right, I think it's an advantage to that. Particularly because guys are pass rushing from the same side, and they're used to work and move and so forth to the same side. I think it's very good, you know, that way, as opposed to flipping guys. Okay, if you didn't stance all the time and playing the block.
They're doing a lot of reading.
Again, the other side of that.
That's cool. That's cool in the attack.
River Kington told me, Tigers, Kings River Tigers told me, you know, they're playing split side and close side running game. But we prefer them to be in the same stance, playing with the same side of their body.
If you're just not gonna go into a gap,
All right.
you're gonna read the
inside
block.
linebacker.
That's like a zone block by an old lineman, you know?
The first thing is basic.
Again, if you look at the films all week.
All right. Basic technique, it meant your nose guard. Anytime your nose guard was in 0 and your end was in a 5, then you had a basic technique, which told you your alignment is going to be 2.5
Trying to have high school kids or
3
JC
yards
guys do what
off
pros
the
do.
offensive guard, and you're going to play the front side of the guard. So now we're saying the nose is playing 2-gap football, the end is playing 2-gap football, and so is the inside linebacker playing 2-gap football. And that's why we got him up there close to the line of scrimmage. He doesn't need any depth, because all we're going to do is have a war at the line of scrimmage all the way across. So we should have everybody like this across the ball. Okay? Everybody should be like that across the football on the floor. That's what we're going to have there. Okay? Now, when we get the nose guard in a tilt or some sort of plus technique to the open side or closed side, or it's a positive technique to the A-gap to the tight end, the technique for the inside backer with a 5 technique or a wide 5 end is gap. And in gap technique, that meant if he has B gap closed and A gap away. That's a gap technique. This is taking off the technique name of the defensive nose guard. Now, if your end is in a 4 and your nose is in a 0, then our technique is straight. And that's when we back up. In gap, his alignment was 4 yards deep to 4.5 yards deep. In the base alignment is offensive guard, but all of these will vary by formation and coverage. His key would be a backfield key primary, unless we're in some sort of man coverage where we got a key coverage. Okay? So his key would be a backfield key primary. All right? Any questions there? It was the fullback, so it's near back, it's the offset back to the tight end, and if it's far back, it's the at-home back. And again, that's based on the running plays that they run. If you play a team that gets in far backs, and the far back always takes you to the ball, then you can go ahead and keep the offset back. But a lot of times they'll run split action plays. If he's looking at the far back, he'll be stepping here, and they'll be running the ball to the tight end side. Okay, we should use that. All right. The next technique would be scrape. Again, that's put the defensive end in a 4 and your nose in a 0. And so now he's basically scraping. He's got C gap flow to him. He's got backside A gap away, just like we had in 0. Okay, or basically 0 technique nose. So it's behind the nose guard and play away. Okay? His alignment depth there is going to be 4 to 4.5 yards deep once again, and he's going to have a backfield key primary. And then the last one, or as far as the base goes, would be bird. And then the bird technique, his alignment's going to be on the offensive tackle somewhere based on formation coverage. His depth is going to be 4.5 to 5 yards deep. His key is going to be backfield key primary. His responsibility, play to him. He's going to scrape and stack the outside linebacker or the under end. Okay? Run away from him. He's got the A-gap backside. Okay? And so, again, by defining their technique and putting the name on it, you told them their alignment, their responsibility, their depth, and their keys. And I think if you can coach your linebackers that way, and all your people that way, for that matter, it makes things very easy for you to correct and to teach a young guy and have a young guy come in and develop. All right? It also helps us when we got to take a guy off the street on Tuesday and getting ready to play by Sunday. Back up together. Okay? Because everything is kind of hopefully in a lot of time. All right? Now, to go along a little further with the outside linebackers, is you got to give them pass responsibilities and run force. Okay? You got to give them pass responsibilities and run force. And those supports also, in our case, were also based on their coverage responsibility, whereas you see later on, their coverage responsibility dictated their force and told them what force they had. We'll get into that later. But Sky Force told me I'm in the 6 technique. We also give a signal where the secondary, the strong safety would say sky, 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 or the free safety, and then the outside backer co-signs it back with a sky signal to him so he knows the force. Okay? So we had sky, 6 technique. We had cloud, where he's a 6 technique and head up. And then we co-signed that, and we had a signal for cloud, 5th. Read is on the back side of the slot formation. playing cover 3 over here, for instance, then we know basically away from it, you got a strong safety sky on one side, your backer away from the strong safety has to have what? It's got to have the flat. So he's basically a pro flat player. Anytime there's no wide number 1, then his force is read. All right? If they would motion out this back out of the backfield, we're still going to play 3 covers to the left. Now we got to move the backer force alignment from the read force alignment. So that was just a part of a segment of backer force. If you don't have a wide number 1, then you have to be in read force. What read force tells you is I'm head up to tight end. If the tight end inside releases, it turns into sky or cloud for me. If the tight end face blocks me, it turns into sky or cloud. If the tight end arc releases, now it turns into backer. I've got to squeeze the next block because I don't know where that corner is going to be at. I'm not throwing the ball to anybody. All right? I've got to squeeze the next block. And that's what the definition of read force is. Okay? And then we have backer and bronco force. Backer where we're outside, inside foot to outside foot of the tight end. Backer also defined as any number 2 my side, I'm going to walk and play him. All right, so any number 2 my side, the motion and trips, I walk and play on number 2, I'm in backer force. That's my job. Okay? That's my job. And I should have said that also for cloud force. Any number 2 my way in cloud force, I walk and play inside eye on number 2. That's my job. I've got cloud force. Okay? Bronco force was a derivative of backer because when we were playing man-to-man coverages, man-to-man defenses, because at that point we didn't want the outside backer to leave the tight end and go to a number 2. He would always stay on number 3 or the down tight end position. And the safety would make adjustment to the outside number 2. And so that is Bronco force, which is a derivative of backer. Defined it, now we're in a man coverage. You play Bronco, when they motion the trips, you stay in there. You don't have to adjust. Okay? You don't have to adjust. All right? Now, any question on the backers and the force responsibilities there? Let's go through the inside backer.
Could you draw an example of the backer force delivering greater?
Okay. There are trips. There's really no way they can run the football back to the open side, so we go ahead and boss the linebacker. All right? Now, most of the time, if we were in backer force here, then we'd be doing something where we're bringing the safety up in there, so we wouldn't really have to, the backers wouldn't have to cheat quite as far, because we'd be dropping away, or we'd be rushing one of these guys, we'd be dropping that guy. So, again, based on the formation, when you go to trips, then we're bringing the safety up inside. And the safety's the hook throw defender.
You cheat that end out to lose.
No, we don't have to. Sometimes maybe you want to. If the all they were doing was running the ball that way, then you could do that. But we didn't necessarily do that. We didn't want to have, and again, if that's all you're going to play, we didn't want to have a lot of checks at the line of scrimmage for players to move from one technique to the other. Because as soon as they motion it back, you don't want him over there. You don't want him out in the Wi-Fi. And then you have to take that communication and bring it back. And again, we try to, that's what we talked about earlier, eliminate the gray area. We want to have a gray area for that guy. Again, it may not always be the best way, and maybe you'd say, well, 8 times out of 10, that's the best thing to do. But the 2 times that it's not, when they motion the ball back in here, and start the ball back here, and hand the ball, and he winds it back, and he's out here, he's gone to that gap there. Now you've got an open gap. You've got back and forth there. Now the safety could make that play, but you'd rather have the end squeezing it down one more gap, and then the safety making the play in the C gap. Okay? And as far as getting your 8th defender up in there. Now, as we coach, and we'll get into this more with the perimeter stuff, we coach this safety. If we're playing a back and forth defense where the safety's working up one side or the other, and you could work him up weak side just the same. And now you want to boss your linebackers over. Okay? say we wanted to bring the safety up. We're here, boss the linebackers over, we can bring the safety up here. Now you just boss the linebackers over. So everything they're doing is we're working on an 8-man haul, okay? A good example of this is here. If you're gonna rush 5 guys, there, put your corners on the wide out, and they got a single back set. Strong safety's got to cover that guy, he's got to cover that guy, and he's got to cover that guy. When you line up in your Eagle defense and you're trying to play a weak side role, involving safety strong, or anything you're doing, you're playing just a version of that all the time. Maybe bringing the safety down this way, and now you're bringing the backers this way. And once these inferior guys begin to work together, you get everything lit. So our version of what I've got there is half the field, backer, strong safety reading on the tight end, corner inside technique man. And all that is the same thing I got drawn on the top. Okay? And once those guys get the picture of those two defenses being the same, then your whole 8-man principle works. And we may have, we could have a defense where he motions over here, now we bring this safety up, now we bring these backers here, he comes back here, we got the same thing, and we just slide and work with Lawson or Bowen based on where the 8 defenders coming up inside the box. Okay? So that you're always keeping your people in the core, you always work the 8-man up in the box. And for these linebackers, which 2 years ago, this guy was a rookie, this guy was in his first year, they had to get these principles, okay? That no matter where the safety goes, I move away. Even though they motion this way, I don't move to the motion, I actually take a step away because the safety's coming up to me. And that's how you're defending the run. You always got an extra defender for them to block. And particularly a defender that they're not counting on blocking. Okay? Yes.
Do you worry about matchups? I was looking at the one we had the clips to the tight end side and have a background of a wide receiver.
Yeah, you got to worry about matchup. I mean, there's no question you got to. But what you got to do is you got to tell them what kind of move this question. If we're in cover 2, say for instance, where we walk away like this, the weakness of cover 2 is where? All right, so here and here. Okay? So if you're doing everything you can to protect those 2 areas, all right, this corner is reading there, he gets that guy up, he can play softer. That guy comes to the flat, he can harden it and play harder in there. You get him up the field vertically, we got him running and carrying. We got the safety split these 2, because the corner, if he gets all 3 vertical, he's going to play soft and run. So there's way you're coaching to the weakness. And the thing that I'm saying is you got to tell your players where the weakness of the defense is. Because every time you put something out there on the field, there is a weakness to it. No matter what you say, there is a weakness. And if they understand where the weakness is, and on the other side, on the flip side, where the strength is, and where we want the football to go. In cover 2, where do you want the football to go? Right here, right? Or right here. You want to throw it where you got the guy. Throw it underneath there where we got 5 guys rallying to the ball, or throw it in the deep half field where that safety has a chance to make a break on it. And you're coaching everybody else to defend the weakness areas. You're coaching the hell out of those weakness areas. And every time you get them to throw the ball in the weakness area, defending, that's not corrupt. You want the ball to go up here on the half field. And so by what I'm saying is, by when you walk that linebacker away, you got to tell him what you want him to do. You know, you want him to funnel the number 2 receiver inside or outside based on what you're telling the safety in the corner. And as long as those guys are working in the same page, you know, you kind of you coach to the weakness of the defense and that matchup that you're talking about. My opinion, put that linebacker out there versus the wide receiver. What's the wide receiver going to do? But he's going to try to do what? He's going to try to avoid him. And once you get him avoided, what have you done? You change his route. Okay? If he runs inside me, he's run into the next zone defender, which is helping me. If he runs outside me, I've delayed him, he's run to the corner. Okay? So just by staying in position, every time you walk the guy away, he's got to walk away with depth and width. So he's got to give himself a chance to read for run pass by getting depth and width. He just can't come down the line of scrimmage because then he can only do one job. He can only reroute that receiver, or he can only play the run. He can't do both. By getting width and depth, he can do both. And I think that's important as you walk people away, they understand how to do it. You know, how to do it. When we're in backward force, this is a big budget clinic. I know Bill's got a lot of overtime. We're on through. We're in backward force and we walk away on the trips. Again, you know, your corners here, your backers here, we're bringing safety up inside. Now basically we're dropping the backers away. Let's just say we're rushing the open guy. All right? So that's what we're working to, right? We've got to balance the zone. We're going to be 4 under, we're going to be 3 deep. All right? We're going to be 4 under, we're going to be 3 deep. What we coach that guy to do, we coach that safety. We say, we're getting trips and the back's at home. That's a run formation. They've run the ball 8 out of 10 snaps last week when they were in that formation. So when we're in this and we're playing this defense, we're playing Larry technique, make sure you get yourself up there at 6 yards. Okay? But if they offset the back over here in far, now you hang in 12 yards because that's a pass formation. Okay? So you've taken what you feel might be a weakness of what they're doing, and you've gone a step forward with coaching your guys into, when they run that and that back's offset, now it was 8 out of 10 passes. So there's no reason for you to get up there at linebacker depth. But what have you told this guy now? Well, shoot, now you make sure when that back's offset far, you get a good chunk of this guy. You know, when that back's at home, you get ready to get back here in a forced position, you know, out of there. So I think, again, just making them alert to what you're doing, why you're doing it. Don't have a lot of defense, because then you can't do that. You don't need a lot of defense. You got to play one thing. Let's go out and play every snap the right way. All right? The next week we'll put in the second defense. But make sure that you know what you're doing is you're doing it right. Okay? That way. All right. I think where I was at. Any other questions there? Let's talk about it. What I wanted to do was talk about the inside linebacker. I think everybody understands basically. The gap technique. When we're in a gap technique, we said we got an end and a 5, so we know we are playing the front door. Well, he's going to play the front side gap. All right? Now, if he blocks down, he's going to spill the football. We talked about that last time. Okay? Most of the time, we'll have the 8th defender coming up here. If the 8th defender should happen to be away, then we'll squeeze the football inside there. Okay? Then we'll squeeze the football. If they block back, and happen to run a power play in there, we'll treat it the same. We'll work up in there and we'll spill the ball or contain it based on where the 8th defender is. Okay? But again, we'll get it up on their sideline of scrimmage. All right? Now, a lot of what you see nowadays, either this guy is set here, he's on the ball, or there's some sort of tilt set that way. When they come off, it's the same. The guy's going to try and reach the nose, but he's going to need help. He should need help. Because if he doesn't, what's going to happen when the ball starts this way? What's going to happen there? He's going to cut back, right? He's taught to read the block on the center's block, right? That's what the tailback's taught to do. He's reading off the hip of this, the guard and depending on the defender outside the shoulder center, right? So once he reads this guy's showing up, he's taught to cut back. What we teach our linebacker to do is fall back behind the play. If the center comes off, if the back steps cause close, we're reading him. If we feel the guard coming off, we want to fall back behind. If we feel the guard harden on the nose guard, we got to harden the V gap. Okay? And again, if the guard stays on your nose, we harden the V gap. But if the guard tries to zone off on me, then I know I can step back behind. I'll take my step and step back behind because now the ball's going to cut back into the gap because the nose guard's going to be free. All right? So you're stealing your extra man. Okay? You're stealing an extra man on the offense right there. And that's what gives you the ability, particularly if you're playing two coverage, where your extra guy is coming from there. Your extra guy's coming out of the flat instead of being a safety inside. And you're trying to get that extra defender in the running game. All right? So again, what we're looking at here is I'm coming off and I'm reading. Coach steps this way, boom. Now I'm picking up the guard. Next thing I see the backfield flow. Say I'm in here, I backfield flow, I pick up the guard, now I fall back behind it. And I go right to the gap. It's got to happen. You can't wait. It's got to happen right now because that nose guard is stepping here and he's coming here and he's forced it to cut back or he'll make the tackle. All right? Or he'll make the tackle. Now, what's the next thing the offense is going to do? Well, they're going to try and bump this guy and then climb up on you. Okay? So you got to harden it. It doesn't take, there's no, that guy, you feel that guy on the nose, then you go. Okay? Because we still got somebody for that backside A gap. We got somebody running for that gap. That's the weak side back is running for that gap. But we're trying to pick up a bonus player by teaching that backer to fall back behind the nose guard if they're going to single block your nose guard. Because that's the reason why you're in the tilt, to tell them they can't single block your nose guard. Okay? Any questions on that? And that's the gap technique read. So you got B, the backside A. Now, you get open side flow. He's keying his fullback. You get flow this way. Boom, he's gone. They're in far backs. He's keying that offset guy. You get flow this way. He's gone. Okay? So that all fits. His read is the same. That back goes open. I'm gone open. Okay, and I want to hit it. And again, you take a drill because the next technique he has to do, Scotty, is he's got to be able to play from here, and Scotty's the center, all right, and they're trying to slip the nose, boom, here. So I got to be able to get to that, all right? And if I get caught, I want to just right through the crack of his neck right here and run him back into the hole, okay? I want to run right through the crack of his neck and run him into the hole. That's the next technique that you got to play with that. Okay, so as he comes up, I want to beat him to the spot across there. And alignment-wise, particularly if they're and you have the 8th defender too, you have the bonus guy too, you can get yourself in alignment where you're going to straddle that outside leg or inside leg of the nose guard based on the formation. So that you give yourself that hand. Because we don't need you that way at the tight end. We're playing that way, that bonus guy that way. All right, then we have the bird technique, or actually the straight technique. And we're seeing the ends in a 4, so now we get flow this way, boom here, he's inside, and we're harder to see yet. And we're going to play off the outside backer, because the outside backer got down blocked by the tight end, he's probably stepped down, collapsed and spilling, and we're going to scrape right off his hip. So again, we're going to stack and replace off the outside back. It could happen this way here. We get onside back blocking, and we're working right over the top. Okay? We're working right over the top. So we're scraping over the top, and that's our scrape technique. And then the other technique is bird. Now we're saying you got a 3 technique, and your initial base alignment is on the tackle here. And you cheat by backfield set. So if you got backfield set over here, you might be more on the outside shade. You got backfield set over here, you might be on the outside shade of the tackle. Okay? Cheats by back set, and that's a bird. He's going to scrape if play comes to him, because he's going to spill the football outside. He's going to scrape here. If play starts away, now he's going to go into the A gap. play comes to, like straight, play away, again. Okay? So again, I think as you see, everything kind of fits and flows together there and puts it all in one thing. Yeah, Rick.
You read on your backer, explaining the scrape technique. The tactic we call it land, it turns out on your four technique, it negates that charge. It's your backer down. Gas
Yes.
change, you fill inside.
He's got to squeeze the next block. Okay, so what you're saying is there's a fan that opens side here. Turn out, and 4, we're going to fan on the backer. All right, now I got to squeeze this next block. Okay, because I'm not getting the down block. If I get down block, I've got the ability to spill. I get out, I got to squeeze. Because my next player is the nose guard or the backer from the other side, whoever's got that A down. Okay, so it all fits together. All right. Okay, let's go with the tape from hell. The operator from hell was the problem. Start. All right, the first one is gap technique. We got skill. And we'll have an end zone, a sideline, and an end zone. So that'll be good. Okay, there you go. You got the down block occurring. Now we're in a 5 here. We're playing 6 coverage. We've got the bonus guy inside. Again, we're getting the spill. Want the safety to play off of that guy a little bit. Safety got a little bit up the field, a little bit too far. Let's take it back here. Come a long way. Again, that's the play. We got a lead play right at it. Our bonus player is we're playing cover 6 here, which is quarter, half. There's our quarter player coming up, reading the tight end. He ends in a 5. You see the backers spill. We like to go a little bit more into out, but we see where we're making it happen in the backfield. And once the guard, you see, once they come off the nose guard, he's still able to make the play. You can't block him forever. Okay. I backs again. Boom, double team, there, and across. Look at it from behind. See back and forth. See the bonus guy, 37. Get extra look every once in a while. Yeah, you can.
Marvin, what do you tell your safety, especially if you're a guy, where would you like him to snap the ball?
I'd like him to be about 3 by 7 on the snap of the ball, particularly if it's a run situation. I want to be about 3 by 7 and just kind of sitting and bouncing, because again, that could hit right off the B gap, but most times it's going to hit the C gap or wider, because we're hopefully going to do a good job of hitting inside to outside on the play. So we'd like him to sit and bounce and start to close up once he reads the tight end blocking on. Okay, now here's examples of the linebacker falling back. See a couple examples. It's better to see from the end zone. So we're looking at 99 here. Okay, so they're running just the fullback belly. Should look at it here. See this from behind. Looking at 99 again. There's the nose guard stretching it, the tailback's cut back, 99 falling back in the hole. So again, we got a bird player on the top. You see the bonus safety coming up now here with the specials. We're in 7 coverage. Where safety has the weak side back or displaced receiver, and where you see the linebacker boss away the other way. Here's a good look at it here. So again, the nose guard, the guard's off clean, nose guard brings it back, backer can run right through that backside cap. Looking at the top side backer.
That fullback's almost right in front of him, that nose starts to get moved down the line a little bit, they don't go very far to get back.
No, it just moves right to where they're basically aligned at. Good look at it again from behind.
Marvin, if they were like a stretch play with that, you ever feel like you lose your front side backer?
Well, and that's the this one. If they run the stretch, the one thing will be a little differently is the back step. He's not stepping here, he's going here. And the linebacker should feel the difference. And that should keep him at home. Okay? And that's a good question because that's the next progression. A lot of times you got to play both plays. You got to play the stretch, but the backer ought to feel the difference in the footwork of the back. And that's something you're going to have to work on. There's a difference in the footwork. Okay, here's a couple shots at him playing, hitting the A gap here. Right now to the A gap. Get a squeeze by the bird backer, which is 94. You see your 3 technique there. Good. Everybody's pushing. 99 make the play. He's the free defender. Okay, a couple good looks at straight. Nice job by 94 there on the block. Don't screw him up. scraper, replacing the outside backer. Scrape here. Here's a good look at him scraping into the seam. Okay, here's some looks at the bird technique, which means you got a 3 technique in. This play is going to be going outside, so it's basically going to be scraping. Be the bottom side backer here, where the motion's coming to. We get spilled by the 7 technique outside backer, which you'll see from behind here. Going to sky force there. Spill there by Kevin. Chad scraping over the top. Safety's playing off of Chad. Well, when they try to cut you off, I mean, that's where they want to go with the ball. We want to make sure we always make them go. They don't want to go. Okay, here we're in man coverage, 7 coverage. You see the extra player here. Back is scraping right to the ball. Good look at it here again. Here's a good look at the guy squeezing the block. Lead play at him, he's got to squeeze. Good pad level here on this shot. Here we're bringing the bonus player up inside. And you'll see that right here. You see 39 here. So the backer, let me run this back, please. Bringing the bonus up, he's covering the open back. We got him now in the A gap. As he said, we're going to boss the ball away. Just imagine this being a 5-man rush. Say we were rushing 5, which we're not doing here right now. We lined up like that. And here he's hitting the backside A gap. So slow start and close here. Now he's going to the backside A gap. Better look at here. Right here. Okay, outside linebacker technique. Starting at 6. First will be a 6. We're going to be read force. Read force here. This guy's going to go in motion. We're starting backer. We move the read down here. Coming up, spill. You move, see the signal. hot, but it's still a pretty good job at this point. It's definitely outside. All right, backwards force. On the top there, again, we talked about changing the line of scrimmage. See right here on the top, changing it. That way we can walk and make it happen. Watching here. Back and forth here, changing the line of scrimmage. Back and forth here. Changing the line of scrimmage. Okay, here you got your wing, so fit in between it, we're Bronco here, both the backers. How's that job? Bronco. Yeah, you want to create a double team. You got that guy outside, somebody's got that guy man to man, so you want to create a double team. And here we go here with backer again. See like this, we'll look at this from behind, but you see how we want to play in between. If they only block us with one, we ought to defend the ball. No, we're playing. Yeah, we're running a game. But it's what 5-man man three. Here's a good look at trying still to get to miss it here, but you see what we're trying to do. Tight end down, watch. Tight end down. You see how the second guy's over the top. You see how I try to go up through. See it from the front side again here. Get from the sideline. Tight end down. Trying to get two. Feels the guy above. See this guy's pattern. See, he's outside right now. Over here going to backer. There's two again. See how we're trying to read it to get two. Good look at this from behind. Right here. Down. See, we get that guard. Down, got to get two. Take a look at this. Right here, down, get two. On the top here. Now we're running an inside game here. We're blitzing inside cross. He just scrapes off us. Okay, so 7 technique, which means on the open side you got a 3 technique, so they're going to spill. We need tight end to them. Any motion. Be a good look here. I'm going to go across. Spill it and change it. Bird back and take it, scrape right off in. Right here, here. This side here will be spilling, squeezing, spill, and fan, squeeze, squeeze. guys will know what that white stuff is. Yeah. Cold. Over here, spill. It's all the way inside, makes it fun to leave. Seven technique there. Seven. Seven here. Hands under him. He wants it better than anybody out there. Beat those guys. Again, though, when they're bringing the guy across, they're changing their running strength. We want them out of that gap. Here's a good look again. Spill is first, squeeze is second. Okay. So again, hopefully, we talked about the techniques, and as you go through, you got a chance to see those things kind of in action. But I really believe as simple as you can make things and then build upon it. Start with the foundation of what you're doing and stance and alignment, and then working into the drill progression that you develop to fit your defense. And one thing that, we're in under defense, but here as we have gotten started over in Cleveland by way of Baltimore by way of Cleveland, I should say, we're going to be a 4-3 team because we have a lot of linemen and not many linebackers right now. So by rule, the only thing we've done, and a lot of you have played some over defense, and by rule, this guy's in a gap, he's in a bird, he's in a 9, playing cover 3, he's in a 7. That's all we're doing. He's in a 3, and he's in a gap or a plus technique, depending on how you want to play it. And you got this guy either in a 5 or a wide 5, over there. So, that's all we're doing is taking the same thing and flipping it over so that we can play over defense, just like we played under defense. So we have both. And still the technique that you have are still defined the same, and based on your coverage or whatever you're doing, you can play buzz coverage and drop this safety down inside and line this backer up, drop the safety down in here, and buzz it, and that guy have the flat instead of playing sky. And one thing about, now that half the guys have left the room, when you play inside safety zone coverages, you're getting your 8th player closer to the run. When you play sky safety support, you're putting your 8th player outside the core of the defense, and your extra player is on the line of scrimmage. What I mean by that, if we're playing sky safety here, when the run breaks, if the run should happen to break, somebody falls down, they break a run, your guy they don't block is over here. But if you're playing sky or inside safety support with the backward force concept, now the guy they don't block is over here, and he makes the tackle for 4 or 5 yards as opposed to 9 or 10. Okay, 6 yards maybe instead of 9 or 10. And that's been our theory of 8-man defense, is we prefer to do it with the safety working inside the core of the defense. Okay? So that gives you your extra guys off the football and inside, closer to the ball, running. When you put in Sky, the essence, your extra defender, when you start the ball here and then cut the ball back, this guy still has to be ready for reverse as far as the strong safety. Your extra guy is almost here. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're playing with just three Sky with three rushing and stand backer, then it's the guy on the line of scrimmage. When they start the ball away from him and wind it back, you're asking him to make the tackle or fold to make the play. And that's the difference. We like to kind of practice it the other way. And I think if that fits into your scheme, you'll see an advantage to it. It also helps you on play action passing, bootlegs, and that sort of thing, because you have that guy with depth that's picking up the cross receiver, as opposed to a guy on the line of scrimmage that has that hook on. So in those two things, it is beneficial to you.
So if you got the safety inside, who you're getting out to the flat?
The backer. That's just
The bird back.
yeah, the bird back. So it's actually, you can do it. Put him inside. So what you're doing is you're just going to cheat his alignment wider. He can start here, just have the safety, have him show 2, walk the safety up. Now he has the flat, so he's just working on number 2. Any number 2 is flat, he's got to go to the flat. All right, so he's working out to the flat, matching 2, he's 1/3. 3 safeties back, corners back here, off the wide out. Now he's got that, he's away. So you've got the same thing, and you're just getting the 8th guy up into the core of the defense. Okay? So it has its advantages, obviously, to doing it that way. And most of the time, they don't block that guy either. So the run that becomes a problem for you, if they're doing this and they're rubbing on those guys, they're rubbing this guy off, and then they're coming to your back. Well, they're not counting on blocking that guy. That guy's coming up and then making it happen.
Do you teach any of your strong safety different technique for that to cover 3 or cover 6? Or is it basically the same technique?
But it's a different technique because it's covered. You may talk about 3 buzz or cover
3
6.
buzz or 6?
No, it's almost, well, it's a little different at 6 because he's got a deep responsibility in 6. When 3 buzz, his responsibility is not deep. You got somebody who's got help.
Once he reads tight end block in 6.
Once the tight end blocks in, it becomes the same defense for him. And that's what's good. You've got a lot of the same technique and the same teaching that being done all the time. Same fit versus the run. And that's what's important. All righty. Any other questions? Well, anybody's in the room tomorrow, it'll be a miracle. All right, thank you.